I donated millions to charity. Now I sleep hungry outside the shelter I built. My name is David. I'm 32, and I used to fix computers for a living. 3 years ago, my grandmother left me more money than I'd ever seen. I paid my debts, had enough left to restart everything. The shelter you see behind me? I wrote them a check once, felt like a hero at their gala. They gave me a plaque with my name on it. Now I watch people go inside for meals while I wait for the line to thin out. It started at a buffet after her funeral. Just family, some games to pass time. I won that first night. Tipped big. Felt like the successful cousin for once. But winning is a liar that whispers, try again. I built a system. I tracked spreadsheets. I told myself smart people don't lose control. The inheritance became loans. Loans became worse loans. The same hands that signed charity checks started signing markers I couldn't cover. They still have my name on that donor wall inside. I see it when I get breakfast. The director pretends not to recognize me. Here's what haunts me. When you're convinced the next hand will fix everything, how many times can you double down before you're betting with your life? The phone rang at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I remember because I'd been staring at the clock on my monitor, waiting for 3 o'clock so I could take my break. Another password reset ticket had just come through. The third one from the same person that week. Help desk, this is David. David? It's Tom. My brother's voice sounded thin, careful. I need to tell you something about Grandma. I pushed back from my desk and walked to the hallway. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Through the window at the end of the corridor, I could see the P&G parking lot stretching out like a gray ocean. She passed this morning. In her sleep. The nurse said it was peaceful. I leaned against the wall. The texture of the paint felt rough under my palm. Grandma had been 91, in hospice for 3 weeks. We'd known this was coming. But knowing something and feeling it arrive are different animals. The funeral's Saturday in Indianapolis, Tom continued. Can you make it? Yeah, of course. There's something else. He paused. She left us money. Each grandkid gets the same amount. $47,000. The number hung in the air between us. I did quick math in my head. After paying off the credit cards from the divorce, $8,000 that felt like a brick on my chest every month. I'd have $39,000 left. Enough to start over. Enough to breathe. David? You there? I'm here. Look, I know things have been tight since Rachel left. This is Grandma taking care of you one last time. After we hung up, I went back to my cubicle. Brad was standing there, holding a coffee mug with "World's Okayest Employee" printed on it. Everything all right? He asked. Family stuff. I need to put in for Saturday off. That evening, I sat at my kitchen table with a yellow legal pad. The apartment felt too quiet. 6 months since the divorce, and I still wasn't used to the silence. No TV murmuring from the bedroom. No sound of Rachel doing dishes while talking on the phone to her sister. I wrote down every debt. MasterCard, $3,200. Visa, $2,800. Personal loan from the credit union, $2,000. Total, $8,000. Below that, I wrote, $47,000 to $8,000 equals $39,000 to $39,000 to rebuild. I could get a better apartment, maybe one with actual sunlight. Save up a real emergency fund. Stop checking my bank balance before buying groceries. I called Wells Fargo to confirm the inheritance process. The woman on the phone had a kind voice, like she understood that people calling about inheritances were usually sad. The money would wire within 10 business days after I provided the death certificate and completed the paperwork. While on hold, I remembered Grandma teaching me 5-card draw when I was 12. We'd play for pennies at her kitchen table, the one with the yellow Formica top. She'd let me win sometimes, but not always. Never play with money you can't afford to lose, she'd said, shuffling cards with hands that had dark spots even then. That's how you keep it fun. My phone buzzed. Text from Tom. Everyone's meeting at the Argosy Casino after the funeral. It's right off 275, halfway point for the Indiana folks. They have a buffet. I stared at the message. A casino seemed like an odd choice for a post-funeral gathering. But Tom was right about the location. Aunt Sharon lived in Fort Wayne. Uncle Pete drove down from Muncie. The Argosy in Lawrenceburg would split the distance for everyone heading home. Sounds good. I texted back. That night, I lay in bed doing more math. $39,000. If I was careful, if I was smart, this could change everything. No more rice and beans the last week before payday. No more anxiety when the car made a funny noise. No more pretending I had plans when coworkers went out for drinks I couldn't afford. Tomorrow, I'd need to call HR about the bereavement leave. 3 days for immediate family. Grandma counted as immediate family. The ceiling fan wobbled slightly as it turned. I'd meant to fix that. Tom texted again. Just remembered. Grandma liked the nickel slots at that place. Remember when she won $500 on her 85th birthday? The funeral was small. Maybe 30 people in a chapel that could hold 200. Grandma had outlived most of her friends. The minister called her Margaret, which sounded wrong. Everyone had called her Peggy. Tom gave the eulogy. He talked about her garden, her famous potato salad, how she never missed our baseball games. I sat in the second row between Aunt Sharon and my cousin Lisa, staring at a stained glass window that turned the morning light purple and gold. Afterward, we stood around in the parking lot. Nobody wanted to be the first to leave. Uncle Pete kept checking his watch. Lisa's kids were getting restless, pulling at her dress. The casino's got a buffet, Aunt Sharon finally said. Might as well get some food before everyone drives home. The Argosy sat right on the Ohio River, a massive boat that never actually sailed anywhere. The parking lot was bigger than a football field, maybe 2/3 full for a Saturday afternoon. We walked through the main entrance together, a parade of people in black clothes who didn't match the flashing lights and electronic music. The buffet was decent. Prime rib, fried chicken, a salad bar that stretched forever. Tom's kids loaded their plates with mac and cheese. Uncle Pete told stories about Grandma from before I was born. We almost felt like a normal family having a normal lunch. I'm going to walk around a bit, I said after dessert. Stretch my legs. The casino floor opened up like a neon cave. Slot machines dinged and chirped. A woman at a nearby machine yelled yes, and lights started spinning above her head. The air smelled like cigarette smoke and carpet cleaner that I found the table games in the back section. Blackjack, craps, roulette. The dealers wore red vests with gold buttons. At the $5 blackjack table, an older man in a John Deere cap was the only player. Room for one more? I asked. The dealer, a woman with Monica on her name tag, smiled. Always room for one more, honey. I pulled out my wallet. 5/20s, my entertainment budget for the entire month. But this was a special circumstance. A family gathering. Grandma would understand. Changing 100, Monica announced, her hands moving smooth and quick. She spread the bills face up on the felt, then slid 4 stacks of red chips across to me. The cards came fast. I got a 13, dealer showing a 6. Basic strategy said to stand. I'd read about basic strategy online once, killing time at work. The dealer busted with 24. Nice start, Monica said, paying out my chips. Next hand, blackjack. Natural 21. Monica paid me 3-2 odds. The chips made a satisfying click as I stacked them. Uncle Pete appeared at my shoulder. Look at you, big shot. Beginner's luck. Your grandma used to say luck was just preparation meeting opportunity. He clapped my back. We're heading out. Drive safe. Over the next hour, the chips moved back and forth. I won more than I lost. When I got dealt a pair of 8s against Monica's showing 6, I knew to split them. Both hands won. My stacks grew taller. You sure you're a beginner? Monica asked. Just lucky today, I guess. A waitress came by with free drinks. I ordered a Diet Coke with lime. The other players at the table kept coming and going, but I stayed. The cards kept being friendly. When I finally checked my phone, it was almost 4 o'clock. I should cash out, I said. Smart man. Monica knocked the table twice with her knuckles, some kind of dealer gesture for good luck or goodbye. Hey, the cashier window. The woman counted my chips twice. $320. I'd more than tripled my money. How would you like that? Cash is fine. She counted out 300s and a 20. Crisp bills that felt substantial in my hand. I tipped Monica $50 on my way out. Probably too much, but it felt good to be generous. The drive home took an hour. I kept touching my pocket where the money sat. $220 profit. Not life-changing, but something. A nice dinner. Maybe new work shoes at A.T. Kroger. I went straight to the meat section. The ribeyes sat behind glass like jewelry, $14.99 a pound. I usually walked past them to the ground beef. Not tonight. I'll take 2 of those, I told the butcher. Back home, I cooked the steak in my cast iron skillet. The smell filled my small kitchen. I ate at the coffee table, watching SportsCenter. $220 was nothing compared to $39,000. But the winning, That feeling when Monica pushed chips toward me. That was something else. My phone buzzed. Tom, made it home. Thanks for coming today. Of course, I texted back. Another message appeared. Saw you at the blackjack table. Be careful with that stuff. Just this once. Family gathering and all. Three dots appeared like he was typing, then disappeared. Then appeared again. Sure. Drive safe tomorrow. I finished the steak and did the dishes. While drying the pan, I thought about Monica mentioning that Friday nights were busiest. Double comp points, she'd said. Whatever that meant. By the third Friday in June, I had a system. Leave work at 5:30. Stop home to change out of the polo shirt and khakis. Put on jeans and the blue button-down that Rachel used to say made my eyes look good. Drive to the Argosy, timing it to arrive around 7 o'clock when the dinner crowd was thinning out, but the night action was picking up. Park in the same section, near the lamppost with the dent in it. Walk through the main entrance, past the slot machines that sounded like video games, to the table games in the back. Third blackjack table from the left, first base position if it was open. That seat let me see all the cards as they came out. Hey stranger, Monica said when I sat down that Friday. She was dealing to a young couple who kept asking each other what to do with their hands. Hey yourself. Diet Coke with lime. You know me. She did know me by then. Knew I worked IT. Knew I'd been divorced 6 months. Knew I liked to play two hands when the table was empty. We talked while she dealt, the kind of easy conversation that made the hours dissolve. You're here every week now, she said, shuffling after the couple left. Becoming a regular. It's something to do. Better than sitting home on a Friday night, right? The cards came out smooth and fast. I'd learned Monica's rhythm by then. The way she snapped cards from the shoe, the little flourish when she revealed her whole card. I'd also learned to read the table. When to press my bets. When to pull back. That night, I was up $400 by 9 o'clock. You're on fire, said the guy next to me. An HVAC contractor named Jerry who came in most Fridays too. Just playing basic strategy. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. But that was the thing about streaks. They ended. Always. By 10:30, I'd given back the 400 plus another 200 of my own money. The cards had turned cold. Dealer pulled 21 three hands in a row. Maybe take a break. Monica suggested quietly when Jerry went to the bathroom. One more shoe. The next shoe was better. One back 300. By midnight, my self-imposed cutoff. I was only down $50 for the night. Entertainment expenses. Less than a decent concert ticket, AT home. I opened the Excel spreadsheet I'd started. Typed in the date, the buy-in amount, the result. 3 weeks of data now. Total, up $1,100. I'd opened a separate checking account at Fifth Third Bank just for gambling money. Moved $5,000 from the inheritance into it. My play money account, I called it in my head. The rest stayed in savings, untouched. Responsible. Saturday morning, Brad called. Some of us are grilling out at Shane's place. You in? Can't make it. Already got plans. What kind of plans? Just meeting up with some friends. From where? You never mentioned friends. People from before. You don't know them. There was a pause. Brad was too polite to push, but I could feel his curiosity through the phone. All right, man. Let me know if you change your mind. I spent Saturday practicing with cards. I'd bought 6 decks at Walmart, started dealing myself hands on the coffee table, practicing basic strategy until it was automatic. Stand on hard 17. Always split aces and eights. Never take insurance. I also started tracking cards. Not full counting. That was too complicated, but keeping a rough sense of whether more high or low cards had come out. The books called it Wonging, named after some Stanford professor who'd figured out the math. Sunday, I went to Mom's for dinner. She lived 40 minutes north, in the same house where Tom and I grew up. You look tired, she said, passing the green beans. Just busy at work. Tom says you've been going to that casino. I set down my fork. Tom needs to mind his own business. He's worried about you. We all are. First the divorce, then grandma. I'm fine, Mom. Better than fine. I've actually won money. That's what worries me. What's that supposed to mean? She sighed. The same sigh from when I was 16 and she'd found cigarettes in my jacket. Your Uncle Pete had a problem with gambling. Before you were born. Lost his house. I'm not Uncle Pete. I know, honey. Just be careful. Monday at work, I could barely focus. Kept thinking about Friday night. The patterns I'd noticed. How Monica always checked her whole card a certain way when she had a 10 underneath. How the pit boss, a guy named Eddie, only came around when someone was betting over 100 a hand at BY Thursday. I'd mapped out a new strategy. Instead of flat betting $25 every hand, I'd vary it. 25 when the count was neutral, 50 when it was slightly positive, 100 when it was clearly in my favor. Friday came slow. Every password reset, every printer jam, every "have you tried turning it off and on again" felt like it took forever. Linda from HR stopped by my cube around 3. "You put in for time off next Friday?" "Yeah, personal day." "Everything okay?" "Fine. Just some stuff to take care of." She nodded but lingered. HR people had a sense for problems. Like dogs that could smell fear. That night, the Argosy was packed. Some kind of concert at the venue next door had brought in crowds. I had to wait 20 minutes for a seat at my usual table. Monica wasn't dealing. She had Fridays off now, someone said. The new dealer, a young guy named Connor, had no personality. Just dealt cards like a machine, but the cards were good. Better than good. I started with 300, my standard buy-in. Within an hour, I was up to 800. The count was positive, so I bet 150 on the next hand. Blackjack. "Holy shit," Jerry said. He was at the table too, losing steadily. "You got a horseshoe up your ass or what?" "Just variance," I said, trying to sound casual as Connor pushed $225 in chips toward me at BY11. I was up 1,400. My biggest win ever. The smart move was to leave. Cash out. Go home. One more shoe. I told myself. The last shoe took 40 minutes and most of my profit. Walked out with 600, still a 300 profit, but it felt like a loss after being up so much. I in the parking lot. I sat in my car doing math on my phone's calculator. If I could average 300 profit per trip, twice a week, that was 31,000 a year. Tax-free, since you didn't have to report gambling winnings under 10,000. More than half my salary from P&G. A knock on my window made me jump. Carl Brenner, according to his name tag. Casino host. "David, right? Mind if we talk for a minute?" Carl's business card was thick, with raised lettering. Casino host, VIP services. He'd handed it to me through my car window that Friday night. "You've been playing well," he said. "We like to take care of our good players." By July, I was Carl's guest. Free buffets. Comp drinks. A leather jacket with the casino logo that I never wore, but kept in my closet like a trophy. I'd also discovered card counting. The books made it sound easy. Keep a running count. Add 1 for low cards, subtract for high cards. Divide by the remaining decks. When the true count hit +2, increase your bet. At +5, bet big. I practiced at home until I could count down a deck in under 30 seconds. Bought a dealing shoe on eBay. Set up a mock table on my dining room surface. Dealt myself thousands of hands, tracking the count while watching TV, while on the phone with mom, while eating dinner. "You're getting good at this," Monica said one night. She was back on the schedule, working weekends for the better tips. "Just playing basic strategy." "Right." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Just be smart about it." July 4th weekend was when everything shifted. The casino was running a promotion, double comps, special tournaments. I brought 2,000 in cash, my biggest bankroll yet. The count was +7. I bet 300.20. Winner, the count climbed. +9. I bet 500. Blackjack. For 2 hours, I couldn't lose. The other players at the table started betting behind me, placing chips on my spots. Jerry kept buying me drinks I didn't touch. The pit boss, Eddie, stood behind Connor watching every hand. Then the count crashed. In 6 hands, I gave back 3,000. Started chasing, betting big even when the count was negative. By 4 a.m., I was down $8,000. I sat in my car as the sun came up, hands shaking. 8,000. Almost my entire gambling account, plus 3,000 from savings I'd sworn not to touch. Monday, I called in sick. Couldn't face the fluorescent lights, the help desk tickets, Brad's questions about my weekend. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table with legal pads, analyzing what went wrong. My system was sound. The math was perfect. I'd just lost discipline. Let emotion override logic. I transferred another 10,000 from savings. Told myself it was an investment. Like going back to school. Sometimes you had to spend money to make money. The system would work. I just needed better discipline. August hit Cincinnati like a wet blanket. The walk from the parking lot to the casino left me soaked with sweat. Inside, the air conditioning felt like stepping into a freezer. "You look rough," Monica said when I sat down at her table. Thanks. Just what everyone wants to hear. When's the last time you took a weekend off from this place? His office was nicer than my manager's at P&G, leather chairs. Photos of him with local celebrities. A view of the river that probably looked better at night. You're one of our best players, he said, pouring himself coffee from a silver pot. But I notice you're always hitting the ATM. Those fees add up. Tell me about it. What if I told you there's an easier way? He slid a form across the desk. Casino credit line. No fees. No interest for 30 days. Just sign for what you need at the cage. I don't know. Look, you're good for it. Steady job at P&G. Good credit score. Yes, we checked. This just makes things convenient. Approved for $10,000 based on your play history. $10,000. Available instantly. No more walking to the ATM in shame. No more daily withdrawal limits. Think about it, Carl said. No pressure. But there was pressure. The inheritance was down to $14,000. My credit cards were creeping back up. The system needed a bigger bankroll to work properly. The books all said so. Variance was killing me with small bets. I signed the forms the next Friday. The first marker felt surreal. Like signing for a rental car. The cashier counted out $2,000 in black chips, sliding them across in a neat rack. Good luck, honey, she said. That night, the system worked perfectly. Up $4,000 by midnight. Paid the marker back immediately, feeling vindicated. See, I told Monica. Just needed the right bankroll. She was shuffling, not looking at me. You know what MAD stands for. The magazine? Markers are death. She dealt the cards. Old dealers saying. By the end of August, I owed $8,000 across 4 markers. The cage manager, a woman with dead eyes, reminded me about the 30-day terms. No problem, I said. Payday's Thursday. But payday wasn't enough. Never enough. I started checking my 401k balance obsessively. $23,000 sitting there. My money. Earning maybe 8% while I could double it in a weekend. The loan paperwork arrived from HR within a week. Linda from HR looked concerned. She had that expression people get when they want to help but can't. $15,000 is the maximum while maintaining employment, she said, sliding the papers across her desk. The payments come directly from your paycheck. 5-year term. I understand. David, I have to ask, is everything okay? Financial hardship loans are meant for emergencies. Medical bills, I lied smoothly. From the divorce. Finally catching up. She relaxed slightly. Divorce debt was acceptable. Understandable. The funds will be in your account within 3 business days. 3 days felt like 3 years. I owed 2 markers that were past 30 days. Carl had started leaving voicemails. Friendly, but with an edge. When the money hit my account Thursday morning, I drove straight to the casino. Didn't even stop home first. There he is, Carl said, all smiles again when I paid off the markers. Knew you were good for it. The relief lasted about 6 hours. Then I was back at the tables, convinced this was my reset. Clean slate. Fresh start. September turned into a blur of fluorescent lights and felt tables. I'd leave work, drive straight to the casino, play until 2 a.m., sleep 4 hours, then go back to work. Weekends disappeared entirely. You've lost weight, Mom said at Sunday dinner. I'd forgotten about dinner, showed up an hour late. New diet. You look sick. I'm fine. Tom pulled me aside after dinner. I know you're at that casino every night. How would you know that? Jerry Paulson. His wife goes to our church. Says you're there whenever he is, and he's worried about his own gambling. Maybe Jerry should mind his own business. David, you inherited the same money I did. I put mine in the kids' college funds. What's left of yours? That's not your concern. You're my brother. It is my concern. But he didn't understand. Couldn't understand. The system was so close to working. I'd had nights where I was up 10,000, 15,000. Just needed to learn when to walk away. October arrived with a stack of bills. Rent was late. Credit cards were maxed again. Cash advances at 24% interest. The 401k loan payment ate $300 from each check. I did the math obsessively. Needed $20,000 to get even. Just even. Not ahead. Just back to zero. The credit card companies had been sending offers. Convenience checks. Cash advance privileges. One night. Sitting in my car in the casino parking lot, I called each one. Took the maximum cash advance from all 4 cards. 8,000 total. This is it. I promised myself. This is the comeback. The text from Rachel came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. David, are you okay? Someone said they saw you at Argosy looking really bad. I deleted it. October became November, and I stopped keeping track of individual sessions. Everything blended together. The sound of shuffling cards followed me everywhere. I heard slot machines in my sleep. Brad cornered me at work. Dude, when's the last time you changed clothes? I looked down. Same shirt as yesterday. Or was it the day before? I'm concerned, he said. Others are too. Linda from HR asked if you were drinking. I'm not drinking. Then what? You show up late. You look like hell. You snap at customers. I'm handling some personal stuff. Handle it better. People are noticing. That Friday, I brought everything I could scrape together. 3,000 in cash advances. 2,000 from selling my good watch, the one Rachel had given me for our anniversary. Another 1,000 from payday loans. Those check cashing places that didn't ask questions. 6,000 to win back 20,000 in losses. Monica wasn't dealing. Someone said she'd switch to day shift. The new dealer was all business, no conversation. Better that way. I didn't want to talk. The cards came out cold. Ice cold. Dealer blackjack. Dealer 21. Dealer 20, again and again. Take a break, Jerry suggested. He'd been watching me lose for an hour. This ain't your night. But I couldn't stop. Stopping meant accepting the loss. Stopping meant going home to my empty apartment and silence. That by midnight, the 6,000 was gone. The ATM rejected my debit card. Daily limit reached. Credit cards all maxed. I stood at the machine, pushing buttons like maybe I'd entered the wrong pin. You good? A security guard had approached. Big guy but gentle voice. Yeah, just. The machine's acting up. Maybe time to call it a night. In my car, I counted the cash in my wallet. $43. Payday was 5 days away. The fuel light was on. Rent was due in 3 days. Already late from last month. That my phone had 17 missed calls. Tom. Mom. Linda from HR. Even Rachel again. I turned it off. Sunday night. I found a place that would cash a post-dated check. The interest was insane, 30% for 2 weeks. But 2 weeks was forever away. I just needed to get through tonight. How much? The guy behind the bulletproof glass asked. 500. He slid the check under the partition. I signed it, knowing my account would be negative when they cashed it. Back at the casino, I turned the 500 into nothing in 90 minutes. That's when I met Derek. Another player, young guy with too much jewelry. We'd talk between hands sometimes. You look like you need help, he said, following me to the parking lot. I'm good. No, you're not. But I know someone who can help. Quick money. No paperwork. He wrote a number on a receipt. Tell him D-Money sent you. The office was above a dry cleaner on Reading Road. No sign, just a door with peeling green paint. I climbed stairs that smelled like mildew and knocked on the only door at the top. You D-Money's friend. The man was younger than I expected. Maybe 30, wearing a Bengals jersey and jeans. The office had a desk, 2 chairs, and a Scarface poster that felt like a joke. I need a loan. How much? 5,000. He laughed. First-timers get 2 max. 3 points a week. Miss a payment, it doubles. Miss twice, we have problems. 3 points. 3%. $60 on 2 grand, every Monday. $60 a week interest. Over 3,000 a year on a 2,000 loan. I need the money today. He opened a drawer, counted out 20 hundreds. Mondays. Don't make me come looking. The bills felt dirty in my hands. But they spent just fine at the casino. That 2,000 bought me 6 hours of hope. I was up 3,000 at one point. Should have walked. Didn't walk. Never walked. By 4 a.m. I was signing another marker for 5,000, figuring I'd pay it with the next loan from the shark. You sure about this? The cage manager asked. Her name was Donna. She'd seen me deteriorate over the months. Just run it. Carl found me at the blackjack table around dawn. The other players had gone home. It was just me and a dealer named Steve who looked as tired as I felt. David, we need to talk about your markers. I'll pay them. You're at 18,000 total. That's over your limit. So raise my limit. Can't do that. You've got 2 weeks to bring this current, or we have to turn it over to collections. Collections. The words sounded like a diseased AT work Monday. An email from Linda waited. Please see me immediately. Her office felt smaller than before. My manager, Ryan, was there too. They had the look of people about to deliver bad news. David, we've had complaints. Multiple complaints. Customers saying you were rude. Coworkers saying you've been sleeping at your desk. I haven't been sleeping. We have security footage. Ryan pushed a printed screenshot across the desk. Me, head down on my keyboard, clearly unconscious. We want to help, Linda said. The company has an employee assistance program. Counseling, addiction resources. I'm not an addict. They exchanged glances. Take the week off, Ryan said. Paid. Figure out what you need. Come back Monday with a plan, or we'll have to make other decisions. I wanted to argue. Wanted to explain that I just needed one good night to fix everything. Instead, I nodded. In my car, I did the math. Owed the casino $18,000. The shark $2,000 plus interest. Credit cards maxed at $22,000 total. Payday loans coming due, another $3,000. Rent 2 months behind. My phone rang. Mom, Tom told me what's happening. Tom doesn't know anything. Come home. Stay with me for a while. We can figure this out. I'm fine. David, please. I hung up. Turned off the phone. Drove to the casino with my last $300. December arrived while I was sleeping in my car. Woke up to snow on the windshield. Couldn't remember where I'd parked. The Meyer lot, apparently. My back screamed when I tried to sit up. The eviction notice had been posted the day before. 30 days to vacate. I'd gone back one last time, filled 3 garbage bags with clothes and important papers, left everything else. You can't live in your car, Tom said when I finally answered my phone. It's winter. It's temporary. Come stay with us. The kids would love to see their uncle. I'm not bringing this near your kids. The casino had banned me the week before. Carl himself delivered the news, almost apologetically. It's not personal, David. But 18,000 in bad markers. We can't just ignore that. I'll pay it. How? I didn't have an answer. The shark was less polite. First week I missed, the interest doubled. Second week, his collector, a guy who looked like he ate steroids for breakfast, found me at a gas station. Monday, all of it. 2,800. Don't make this worse. 2,800. The original 2,000 had grown by 40% in 3 weeks. P&G fired me over the phone. Linda sounded genuinely sad. We held your position as long as we could, but you never came back. Never called. I've been sick. David, I hope you get help. I really do. The check cashing places had my picture on their walls now. Do not serve. The payday loan companies were calling everyone in my phone, trying to track me down. Mom left voicemails crying. I pawned everything pawnable. Laptop. TV from the apartment I'd abandoned. Golf clubs from before the divorce. Even my winter coat, which was stupid because now I was cold all the time. The library became my office. Free heat, internet, bathroom. I applied for jobs on their computers, lying about why I left P&G. Nobody called back. One morning, washing my face in the library bathroom, a man came in. Older, maybe 70, wearing a suit that had seen better days. You're new to this, he said. To what? Being homeless. I'm not, but I was. Living in a car with no gas money, no address, no plan. What else would you call it? There's a meeting, he said. Gamblers Anonymous. Tonight at St. Matthew's. I'll be there. He left before I could respond. That night, I sat in my freezing car outside the church. Watched people go in. Normal-looking people. Men in work clothes. Women in nurse scrubs. Nobody who looked like me. Unwashed, unshaven, defeated that I didn't go in. Instead, I called Tom. I need $2,800. Today. For what? To not get my legs broken. Silence. Then, Jesus, David. I'll pay you back. With what money? You don't even have a job. Please. I'll handle it. But you're done. You're getting help. He met the shark's collector himself, paid my debt, then drove me to his house. His wife, Sandra, had made up the guest room. Their kids were told Uncle David was sick and needed quiet. That night, in a clean bed for the first time in weeks, I stared at the ceiling doing math. 47,000 inherited. All gone. Plus another 40,000 in various debts. $87,000 destroyed in 7 months. Tom knocked. That meeting tomorrow night. You're going. Okay. I mean it. You go, or you leave. I said okay. But okay was just a word. Inside, I was already calculating. If I could get just a small stake, maybe 500, I could build it back up. I knew the casino's patterns now. Monica's dealing schedule. When the hot tables got hot, all I needed was one more chance. Matthew's Methodist Church smelled like coffee and floor wax. The basement meeting room had yellow walls and fluorescent lights that buzzed. Folding chairs arranged in a circle, a banner on the wall. God grant me the serenity. Tom walked me to the door like I was a child on the first day of school. 1 hour, he said. I'll be right here. 11 people in the circle. The old guy from the library, Bill, I learned, was running the meeting. They went around introducing themselves. The ritual everyone knows from movies. I'm Mark, compulsive gambler. Hi, Mark. When it got to me, my throat closed up. I'm David. The words wouldn't come. Saying it made it real. It's okay, Bill said. You're here. That's enough for tonight. A woman named Carol told her story. Lost her house betting on horses. Living with her sister now, 2 years clean. She talked about the rush, the escape, how the track made her feel like somebody else, somebody luckier, smarter, better. I knew that feeling. Mark went next. Sports betting destroyed his marriage. His kids wouldn't talk to him. He'd been clean 6 months, but still felt the pull every time he saw a game on TV. The addiction talks to you, he said. Tells you this time will be different. You've learned from your mistakes. You can control it now. My inner voice, exposed. Then Bill shared. He'd owned a successful printing business in the 80s. Lost it all at riverboat casinos when they first opened. Lived under a bridge for 3 months. Rock bottom's different for everyone, he said, looking at me. Some people need to lose everything. Others just need to lose enough. What if you can win it back? I asked, surprising myself by speaking. Several people laughed, not meanly, but with recognition. That's the disease talking, Bill said. The next bet will fix everything. The next system will work. The next time you'll walk away up. But sometimes people do win. And then what? You win back your losses, then what? You stop forever? Walk away? Or do you keep playing because now you're on a heater? I didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Gambling isn't your problem, Bill continued. Gambling is your solution. To boredom, to pain, to feeling less than. Until you find a better solution, you'll keep going back. After the meeting, Bill handed me a white chip. 24 hours, he said. Don't gamble for 24 hours. Tomorrow, we do another 24. That's it. That's everything. Tom drove me home in silence. Sandra had made soup. The kids were in bed. We sat at their kitchen table, the kind of normal moment I'd lost months ago. The meeting help? Tom asked. I don't know. Maybe. David, I need to tell you something. Carl from the casino called me. Then someone named Derek called. They're looking for you. I don't owe Derek anything. You paid him. Different Derek, apparently. Says you owe $3,000. My stomach dropped. The second loan. The one I'd forgotten about in the chaos. I can't pay that. I know. Neither can I. We sat with that reality. More debts surfacing like bodies in water. Bill gave me his number, I said. The guy running the meeting. You going to call him? Yeah. When? I pulled out my phone. Tom had paid to turn it back on. Dialed the number. Bill? It's David. From tonight. Yeah, I need help. Real help. 24 hours. Don't gamble for 24 hours. I in Tom's guest room. I held the white chip like a life preserver. Outside, snow continued falling, covering the world in clean white that would be gray slush by morning. But for now, just for tonight, everything looked possible. The first 24 hours felt like 24 years. Every commercial break, every song on the radio, seemed designed to remind me what I'd lost. Tom's kids asked why Uncle David looked so sad. Sandra made conversation about weather and local news, careful to avoid mentioning anything about money or luck. I called Bill on hour 23. I don't think I can do another day. Where are you right now? My brother's couch. Are you gambling right now? No. Then you're doing it. One more day. He talked me through the mechanics. Find a meeting every day if possible. Read the literature. Call when the urge hit. The urge was a visitor that would leave if you didn't invite it in. What about the money I owe? One day at a time. The money will still be there tomorrow. Your recovery might not be if you gamble today. Day 2. I walked to the library. Applied for jobs I was overqualified for. Retail positions. Food service. Anything with a paycheck. The applications asked about gaps in employment. I invented a sick relative I'd been caring for. That evening's meeting was at a different church. 12 people this time, including 2 women about my age. One shared about losing her children's college funds. The other talked about stealing from her employer to feed slot machines. I told myself it was borrowing, she said. I'd pay it back after the next big win. 6 months later, I'd embezzled $40,000. The shame in her voice was my shame. The rationalization was my rationalization. Day 3, Derek number 2 called Tom's house. Sandra answered, told him I wasn't available. When I called back, a different voice answered. You got a week to make this right. 3 grand plus interest. 3,500 total. I don't have it. Find it. I told Bill about the call. Can't squeeze blood from a turnip, he said. But you can't gamble your way out of this either. That's what got you here. Day 4, I got a call back. Big box store, overnight stocking. Minimum wage, but it was something. The manager, a tired-looking woman named Janet, barely glanced at my resume. You start Monday. Don't be late. Don't call in sick unless you're dying. Working midnight to 8 a.m. felt like penance. The fluorescent aisles stretched forever, lined with products I couldn't afford. My coworkers were young guys fresh out of high school and older women working second jobs. Nobody asked questions about why a former IT professional was stocking toilet paper. The physical work helped. Loading trucks, moving pallets, sweating through my thrift store clothes. My body was tired enough to sleep during the day, which left less time to think about gambling. Tom drove me to work the first week. I'd lost my car when I couldn't make the payments. Another debt I'd forgotten about until the repo man found it at the library. The bus schedule meant I had to leave Tom's house at 10 p.m. to make my midnight start. This is temporary, I told myself, until I figure things out. But weeks passed, and temporary became routine. The meetings became routine too. St. Matthew's on Mondays, Sacred Heart on Wednesdays, First Baptist on Fridays. Different rooms, same stories. Different faces, same pain. Carol, the woman who lost her house to horse betting, became my sponsor. She had 18 months clean and a laugh that made everything seem manageable. Recovery's like compound interest, she said over coffee after a meeting. Seems like nothing's happening for months. Then suddenly you look up and your life is different. How long before the urges stop? Wrong question. They don't stop. They just get weaker. And you get stronger. Derek number 2's people found me at Tom's house on a Saturday morning. I was mowing the lawn when a black Escalade pulled up. 2 men got out, both wearing polo shirts like they were going to play golf. David, yeah, we need to talk about your obligation. Tom came out of the garage, still holding a wrench. Gentlemen, I think you've got the wrong house. No, sir, we've got the right house. Your brother owes money. How much money? Tom asked. $4,500 now. Interest keeps growing. Tom looked at me, then back at them. Give us a week. After they left, Tom sat on his front steps. I can't keep doing this, David. I've got kids. A mortgage. I know. The meeting's helping. I think so. I haven't gambled since that night in December. That's something. But I could see it in his eyes. The calculation. How much was helping his brother worth? How much risk was too much? The efficiency apartment was above a Pizza Hut on Montgomery Road. 400 square feet, no air conditioning, shared bathroom down the hall. But it was mine, paid for with my own money for the first time in months. Sandra helped me move my 3 garbage bags of belongings. It's got character, she said, looking around at the water stains on the ceiling. It's honest, I replied. No pretending to be something it's not. The apartment came furnished with a bed, a dresser, and a chair that might have been brown once. I bought a small TV at Goodwill and a coffee maker that only worked sometimes. Night shift paid $8.50 an hour. After taxes, rent, and bus fare, I had maybe $50 a week for food and everything else. Rice and beans, ramen noodles, day-old bread from the grocery store marked-down section, but I wasn't borrowing money. Wasn't lying about where I was going. Wasn't calculating how much I could lose and still make rent. The urges came in waves. Driving past billboards advertising lottery jackpots. Commercials during late-night TV. Especially, hard were the nights when I'd count my tips from helping customers load their cars, maybe $12 in crumpled ones, and imagine turning it into 100 at blackjack. Carol called those euphoric recall moments. You remember the winning, not the losing. Like remembering the high from a drug, but not the hangover. I kept a notebook. Every time I wanted to gamble, I wrote down what I was feeling. Bored, lonely, angry at Tom for having a normal life, scared about the future. The notebook filled up fast. 3 months sober. Derek number 2's people came to the store. Found me in the parking lot after my shift. We've been patient, the bigger one said. 4,800 now. I don't have it. Then we have a problem. They didn't threaten directly. Just stood close enough that I could smell their cologne and feel their intention. Bill's phone went to voicemail. Carol was at work. I called Tom from the bus stop, hands shaking. They're escalating, I said. How much? Almost 5,000 now. Silence on the line. Then, I can't, David. I'm sorry, but I can't keep bailing you out. I'm not asking you to. I'm just scared. Come over. We'll figure something out. But what was there to figure out? I made $300 a week. After expenses, I could save maybe $30. At that rate, it would take 4 years to pay off the debt, assuming they stopped adding interest. The casino called on a Tuesday. Not Carl. He'd moved on to bigger fish. This was someone from accounting, a woman with a professional voice and no interest in small talk. Mr. Patterson, you have outstanding markers totaling $18,000. Our attorneys need to know your payment intentions. I don't have that kind of money. What kind of money do you have? None. I stock shelves at night. Live in a room above a pizza place. Sir, these are legal obligations. We can garnish wages, place liens on property, garnish away. There's nothing to take. After hanging up, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months, relief. They could garnish 25% of my wages, which would leave me with maybe $200 a week. Still survivable, barely. And at least the threat would be over. The real temptation came from Jerry Paulson. I ran into him at Kroger, buying lunch meat at the deli counter. David, Jesus, what happened to you? I'd lost 40 pounds. My clothes hung loose. The fluorescent lights made me look pale and hollow. Just getting by. I heard you got banned from Argosy, but there's other places. Hollywood Casino opened in Lawrenceburg. Brand new, lots of promotions. We could check it out sometime. The suggestion hit like a drug offered to an addict. New casino meant no bad history. Fresh start. Clean slate. And I'd learned so much since those early days. I understood bankroll management now. Risk of ruin calculations. Proper betting spreads. I don't gamble anymore, Jerry. Come on. You were one of the best players I knew. Just for fun. Small stakes. Just for fun. Small stakes. The lies addicts tell each other. I can't. Your loss, man. I'm up $6,000 this month. New system based on betting patterns. He walked away, but the seed was planted. $6,000 in a month. That would solve everything. Pay off Derek number 2, get caught up on debts, maybe even get a decent apartment. That night at work, stocking cereal boxes, I ran numbers in my head. If I could build a bankroll slowly, legally, maybe sell some blood, collect aluminum cans, save up $300 for a steak. I called Carol from my break. I'm thinking about gambling again. Where are you right now? Work. Are you gambling right now? No. Then don't. Come see me after your shift. Her apartment was small but clean, filled with plants and recovery books. She made coffee and toast while I explained about Jerry, about the new casino, about my brilliant new insights into gambling theory. You know what you sound like? She said, every relapse story I've ever heard. This time will be different. I've learned from my mistakes. I can control it now. But what if? No what ifs. Here's the only fact that matters. You're an addict. Addicts can't gamble. Ever. Period. Derek number 2's patience ran out on a Thursday. I was walking home from the bus stop when they pulled up. Different car this time. Beat up Camaro that needed a muffler. Get in. I don't think, wasn't a request. We drove to a warehouse in Norwood. Industrial area, nobody around. Inside smelled like motor oil and old cigarettes. They sat me in a folding chair next to a workbench covered in tools. $5,200 now, the bigger one said. Interest keeps compounding. I told you I don't have it. Time to get creative. They explained their proposal. I could work off the debt. Transport packages, no questions asked. $1,000 off the principal for each delivery. 5 or 6 trips, debt forgiven. What kind of packages? The kind you don't ask about. I knew what they meant. Drugs. Money. Worse things. The criminal justice system waited at the end of that road. Prison, if I was lucky. I need to think about it. You got 48 hours. They drove me back to the bus stop. I sat there until the last bus, then walked home in the dark, mind spinning. The meeting that night. I couldn't concentrate. Bill shared about his bottom, sleeping rough, eating from dumpsters, selling anything he could steal. The other stories blended together. Loss, desperation, the moment when the last option disappeared. After the meeting, I told Bill about the warehouse visit. What are you going to do? I don't know. Maybe run packages is better than getting beaten up. Is it better than staying clean? I don't have any good choices. You got one choice. Keep not gambling. Everything else will sort itself out. Easy words from someone who'd never owed money to dangerous people. But as I walked home, I realized he was right about something. Gambling had created this mess. More gambling wouldn't solve it. Back in my efficiency, I looked around at my minimal possessions. A bed, some clothes, a notebook full of recovery insights. Not much, but it was honest. Earned through actual work, not wishful thinking. I picked up the phone. Called the number Derek number 2 had given me. I'm not running your packages. Bad decision. Maybe, but it's my decision. I hung up, then immediately called Tom. I might need to disappear for a while. What happened? I explained about the warehouse, the packages, the 48-hour deadline. Jesus, David. Maybe you should take their deal. Can't do it sober. That was the truth I'd been avoiding. Whatever came next, I had to face it without the escape gambling provided. No more running from consequences into bigger consequences. They came on Saturday morning while I was doing laundry at the wash and dry on Montgomery Road. 2 guys in a pickup truck, parked where they could watch the laundromat entrance. I called Carol from the pay phone. They found me. Where are you? Doing laundry. They're outside. Stay on the line. I'm calling 911. And tell them what? That I owe money to loan sharks. That you're being harassed. That you fear for your safety. The police came, took a report, told the guys in the truck to move along. Temporary solution to a permanent problem. The cops couldn't be there every minute. That afternoon, I called a bankruptcy attorney. Free consultation, the ad in the phone book promised. Robert Chin's office was in a strip mall between a nail salon and a cell phone repair shop. Young guy, maybe 35, with tired eyes and a worn briefcase. Chapter 7 will eliminate your credit card debt, medical bills, the casino markers, he said, reviewing my list. But informal debt, what you owe these loan sharks, won't go away. So bankruptcy doesn't help. It helps with the legal debts, gives you breathing room, but you're still going to have the other problem. His fee was $800. Money I didn't have for a solution that wouldn't solve my biggest problem. Walking home, I calculated how far 800 would go as a gambling bankroll. Old thinking, automatic as breathing. Even 4 months clean, my brain defaulted to gambling math. At work that night, Janet, the manager, pulled me aside. You've got people calling here asking about you. Your schedule, when you get off work. I don't like it. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. See that it doesn't. This is a family business. We can't have drama. Drama. $4,800 in debt to criminals was drama. Living in fear was drama. Working minimum wage at 32 because I destroyed my life chasing cards was drama, but at least I wasn't gambling. Tuesday's meeting was small, just 6 people in the church basement. Bill led a discussion about acceptance, accepting that some problems couldn't be solved immediately. That recovery meant learning to live with uncertainty. I spent so much time trying to control everything, said Mark, the sports bettor. Trying to predict outcomes, manage risks. Turns out the only thing I could control was whether I placed the next bet. After the meeting, I walked to the riverfront. Cincinnati sparkled across the water, all lights and possibility. Behind me, somewhere in the darkness, men with violent intentions were looking for me, but I wasn't gambling. That seemed like a small victory against enormous defeat. My phone rang. Tom, pack whatever matters to you. I'm picking you up in an hour. What's happening? Sandra found you a job. In Dayton. Security guard position at a hospital. Midnight shift, 30 hours a week. Enough to live on. Tom, you can't keep living like this either. Fresh start. New city. Let these assholes chase shadows. Miami Valley Hospital sat on the edge of downtown Dayton, a sprawling complex of buildings connected by covered walkways. The security office was in the basement, next to the morgue. Seemed appropriate. My supervisor, Eddie Martinez, had the weathered look of someone who'd worked nights for decades. Mostly quiet, he said, showing me the patrol routes. Check doors, watch the monitors, keep the drunks from wandering into restricted areas. Easy money. The uniform came from a closet full of previous guards who'd quit without notice. Badge, radio, flashlight, keys to doors I'd never need to open. I looked official for the first time in months. My apartment was a studio in Oregon District, walking distance from work. For $100 a month, utilities included. The neighborhood was rough but improving, full of young professionals and old buildings being converted to lofts that I found a gamblers anonymous meeting at a community center on Brown Street. Different faces, same stories. The group was smaller than Cincinnati, maybe 8 regular attendees. But consistent, reliable. The sponsor situation took time to work out. Eventually, I connected with Ray, a retired factory worker who'd lost 2 houses and a marriage to poker machines. 10 years clean, he had the settled calm of someone who'd stopped fighting the current. How long before life gets normal? I asked him after my first week in Dayton. Define normal. I don't know. Not thinking about gambling every day. Not afraid of phone calls. Having money in the bank. The money comes back if you work at it. The fear fades. But you'll always be a gambler who doesn't gamble. That never changes. Work at the hospital became routine. Midnight to 8 a.m., patrolling empty hallways, checking locks, writing reports about nothing happening. The pay was $11 an hour, barely enough, but enough. During breaks, I read books from the hospital library. Recovery literature mostly, but also novels I'd missed over the years. Stories about people facing impossible circumstances and finding ways forward. The debt followed me to Dayton eventually. Phone calls to the hospital, voicemails on my home number. But distance had blunted their urgency. What were they going to do? Drive to another city to break my legs over $5,000. 3 months in Dayton, I got a letter from Robert Chun. The casino had filed a civil suit over my markers. Court date was set for the following month. Don't ignore it, Ray advised. Show up, explain your situation. Judges understand bankruptcy better than loan sharks do. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Maybe a dozen cases on the docket, mostly traffic violations and small claims disputes. When they called my name, I stood at the defendant's table while a lawyer read the casino's complaint. Your Honor, Mr. Patterson owes our client $18,000 in gambling markers. We seek judgment for the full amount plus interest and court costs. The judge looked tired. Tuesday morning domestic disputes and debt collections weren't the glamorous part of legal practice. Mr. Patterson, how do you respond? I owe the money, Your Honor, but I don't have it. I make $11 an hour as a security guard. Live in a studio apartment. No assets worth seizing. What's your monthly income after expenses? Maybe $200. The lawyer smirked. The judge sighed. Judgment for plaintiff in the amount of $18,000 plus costs. Defendant is judgment-proof, so execution is stayed pending change in financial circumstances. The 1-year chip was white plastic, just like the 24-hour chip, but it felt heavier somehow, more substantial. The date was engraved on one side, my bottom date, the night Tom paid off the shark and drove me home. Congratulations, Bill said, making the presentation at the Cincinnati meeting I'd driven down for. 1 year of freedom. The room applauded. 11 people on a Tuesday night, celebrating someone they barely knew staying away from something that was destroying his life. Simple math that felt miraculous. Tom and Sandra came to dinner afterward. We met at Frisch's, nothing fancy, but they'd driven an hour to be there. You look healthy, Sandra said. Like yourself again. I'd gained back 20 pounds, bought clothes that fit, gotten a haircut at an actual barbershop instead of great clips. Small improvements that added up to dignity. How's work? Tom asked. Same. Walking hallways, checking doors. But it's honest work. You thinking about looking for something better? Eventually. Need more time clean first. More time being reliable. The truth was, I liked the simplicity of security work. Clear duties, measurable outcomes. No temptation to take shortcuts or find angles. After a year of chaos, routine felt like luxury. Back in Dayton that night, I sat in my studio apartment reviewing the past year. Ray had given me a notebook for tracking progress. Not money this time, but recovery milestones. 30 days without gambling. 60 days. 6 months. Each milestone had felt impossible until it passed. Job held for 8 months. Longest employment streak since the divorce. Apartment for 6 months. First stable housing since the eviction. Debts unchanged but not growing. The loan sharks had given up. The casino judgment sat in some file cabinet, waiting for me to win the lottery. Phone calls from Mom and Tom returned promptly. No more hiding, screening calls, inventing excuses. Meetings attended. 347. More than one a day on average. Some people thought that was excessive. Ray said it was perfect. Meetings are like medicine, he'd explained. You don't stop taking blood pressure pills because you feel fine. The notebook had pages of gratitude lists, step work, character defects, and assets. The physical evidence of rebuilding a life from scratch, but the real progress wasn't in notebooks. It was in sleep. Actual sleep, not the fitful unconsciousness of exhaustion. Dreams about normal things, work schedules, grocery lists, conversations with friends that it was in walking past convenience stores without calculating scratch-off odds, seeing commercials for casinos without feeling physical hunger, watching sports without immediately thinking about point spreads. Most of all, it was in the absence of secrets. What you saw was what you got. A security guard living in a studio apartment, going to recovery meetings, paying bills with money he'd actually earned. Not much of a life by some standards. But it was mine, built on the foundation of one simple principle. Don't gamble today. Tomorrow would require the same decision. But tonight, reviewing the year behind me, that seemed possible. Tomorrow would require the same decision. But tonight, reviewing the year behind me, that seemed possible. The white chip sat on my nightstand next to the alarm clock. Plastic reminder of promises kept, mostly to myself. In the morning, I'd go to work, earn $11 an hour, save what I could, attend a meeting point one day at a time. The math was finally in my favor.